Good morning. It is Saturday, July the 26th. I want to start this hour with a puzzle. I want to ask you something. What do these 6 things have in common? The Fed chair, Jerome Powell, the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, the Washington, D.C. Commanders NFL team, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the sweetener that's found in Coca-Cola, and this woman who's apparently catching a snake. I'm going to give you a second. You give up? Here's what they all have in common. They are all not related to the late financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, his criminal files, his birthday book, or his one-time friendship with the current president of the United States. And therefore, all of these people and organizations and products are subject to the ostentatious attentions of Donald J. Trump. Let's start with the Federal Reserve and its chair, Jerome Powell, who has long been a target of Trump's rage because the Fed has not heeded Donald Trump's demand to slash interest rates. The president staged a big photo op at the Federal Reserve on Thursday, ostensibly to check on renovations to the century-old building that houses America's central bank, a visit that was surrounded by a cloud of suspicion that it may have served as a pretext for Trump to accuse the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, the man on the right, of fraud linked to the cost overruns plaguing that construction project. Fraud is just one of the few legal justifications that Donald Trump could use to remove Powell before his term expires next year. And Trump's demeanor during this visit did nothing to ease suspicions that that's what this is about. Watch the video. As I said, the man on the right is the Fed chair, Jerome Powell.
It looks like it's about $3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed. You're including the Martin renovation. You just added
our entire capital plan.
Yeah, you just added in a third building is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's not new.
In addition to being a pretty good live fact check by the Fed chair, Trump also had this ominous warning, which might be about interest rates, or it might be about the Fed chair's future.
I believe that he's going to do the right thing. I believe that the chairman is going to do the right thing. I mean, it may be a little too late, as the expression goes, but I believe he's going to do the right thing.
So this very unusual presidential visit to the Fed could be about Trump trying to find a way to fire the Fed chair. But given the timing of the visit, it could just as easily have less to do with inflation or monetary policy and everything to do with distraction. According to new reporting from the Wall Street Journal this week, which cites senior administration officials, Trump's Attorney General Pam Bondi informed him back in May that his name appears in Jeffrey Epstein's files, not just once, but multiple times. The New York Times also reported this week, citing 3 people with knowledge of the exchange, that Trump was informed as early as this spring that his name surfaced in the Epstein files, which is awkward because just last week, Trump told reporters that Bondi had not told him any such thing, and he denied the same thing yesterday.
No, I was never briefed on.
In an apparent move to placate his supporters, who've been in open revolt ever since the DOJ announced that there was no client list, no evidence of foul play in Epstein's death, and no further files to be released, Trump announced last week that he had directed the Justice Department to begin unsealing grand jury testimony from Epstein's criminal cases. But many MAGA diehards were not and still are not buying that. They don't want grand jury summaries, which 2 judges have already ruled can't be released anyway. They want the actual files. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene has warned Trump, quote, the base will turn and there's no going back. Dangling bits of red meat no longer satisfies, end quote. The New Yorker's Susan Glasser gives this appraisal of the state of affairs, quote, the scandal then is not the revelation that Trump was friends with a sexual monster who exploited underage women, since it's not a revelation. Nor is it that the president lied to the American public, something he does with remarkable frequency. No, the novelty here is that millions of Americans who knew that Trump was friends with such a horrid man and voted for him anyway now appear to have decided that in a choice between Trump and a favorite conspiracy theory, they may just stick with the conspiracy theory. Hardly great news for the Republic, even if it is problematic for Trump's political standing. The nearly unwavering fealty of Trump's MAGA base has powered him through all of his previous scandals. What does it reveal about the state of this political mésalliance that botched coverage of his ties to Jeffrey Epstein might be the thing that finally drives a wedge between them? So while MAGA world spirals and wonders what even is real anymore, Trump is doing what he always does when the walls start closing in. He's trying to change the topic, sometimes with deliberately provocative policies or statements like turning up at the Fed in a hard hat to hassle Jerome Powell, sometimes just by straightforwardly demanding that people stop talking about him, like yesterday when a reporter asked him about his former personal attorney and the current Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche visiting Epstein conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell in prison.
You're making a very big thing over something that's not a big thing. You should be talking about, if you're going to talk about that, talk about Clinton, talk about the former president of Harvard, talk about all of his friends, talk about the hedge fund guys that were with him all the time. Don't talk about Trump.
Don't talk about Trump. Just said it right out there. But if you don't want to talk about Bill Clinton or the former president of Harvard or the hedge fund guys, instead of talking about Trump's ties to Epstein, Trump would also like to divert attention to the former president, Barack Obama. On Tuesday, when asked directly about Epstein, Donald Trump answered by accusing Obama of treason, a dangerous escalation of an old and long debunked claim that the Obama administration officials exaggerated intelligence around Russian election interference to undermine Donald Trump's 2016 victory. And it comes on the heels of Trump posting what appears to be an AI-generated video of Obama being arrested in the Oval Office while Donald Trump looks on. Obama's team issued a rare public rebuke, saying, quote, out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. But these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction. And that's exactly what this is, the same MAGA playbook that we've grown accustomed to over the years. Let's bring back our 6 photos of all the things that are not Jeffrey Epstein, and let's go over them with this fun chart that we've made. There's Fed Chair Jerome Powell, who, as I mentioned, was singled out for particular attention from the president this week, and Barack Obama, who's being falsely accused of treason. But there's also the Washington Commanders pro football team, whose stadium deal Trump threatened to kill this week if the team does not change its name. And while Trump did not release any Epstein files this week, his administration did release more than 200,000 documents related to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Because sure, why not? And then he falsely claimed that he convinced Coca-Cola to replace high fructose corn syrup with cane sugar. He did not. And he posted to social media this surreal 3-minute montage that, as the Washington Post put it, looked more like something you'd see at a sports bar than in a president's official feed. Now, if you're curious, the bizarre clip included a woman catching a snake. No context. A car sliding under a barreling truck. No reason. And 4 random dudes doing flips on motorcycles. Who? We don't know. Why? We also don't know. And yet the response from his base has remained the same. Show us the files. Sure, Snake Lady is cool and all, but no one is forgetting that super creepy birthday note. All of these failed attempts at mass distraction are part of the same familiar MAGA playbook. Flood the zone with nonsense, get people talking about snake ladies and racist football logos, and hope that everyone forgets that Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files, according to both the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, along with one very creepy birthday letter, also reported by both outlets. But the old tricks aren't working like they used to. Parts of the MAGA base are even beginning to connect the Epstein dots to Trump himself. And Republican lawmakers say their phones have not stopped ringing with MAGA supporters demanding that the Epstein files be released.